If you're someone that uses devices like this, then you're gonna wanna watch into the end of this video. In today's video, I wanna discuss with you the 3 mistakes people are making while using these devices, and most importantly, teach you how to use these foam rollers the right way. Let's get started. Welcome back, this is Dr. Mike, and I'm a physical therapist providing tips on how to build strength and longevity with your body. Today, we're gonna be talking about the most common mistakes that I see people make while using devices like this, which is a foam roller. Now, most athletes you'll see, they use this tool as a form of recovery, especially if you're having any pain or stiffness in a muscle. This can definitely help improve circulation and improve blood flow in the area, which as a result tends to feel good when there's pressure being applied to the muscle belly. So today we're gonna talk about a few mistakes that I commonly see, and the first one being that most individuals are using this incorrectly by only performing the foam roller on a specific location of the muscle. So let's say, for instance, the lat muscle. We know that the lat muscle attaches across the shoulder and actually wraps around and goes all the way into the lower back. So when people are using this device on the lats, you'll see commonly that most people will just kind of hang out there and just keep the foam roller in one location. Now, if we really want to be effective with this tool, we have to understand that, for one, that the foam roller is placed perpendicular to the fibers. So the fibers of the lats are running kind of up and down. So what I want to do is kind of set up the foam roller perpendicular so that it's in this angle here, okay? So this is specific for the shoulder, but this also applies to any other muscle that you're going to be using. So in order to do this correctly, instead of you just hanging out here on the foam roller and taking some deep breaths and spending time here, what you really should be doing is working along the muscle belly, finding the areas that are most sensitive to you, and you might find some specific locations that are tighter or more sensitive, and you can spend a couple of seconds, maybe 5 seconds, taking deep breaths in, really trying to use the technique of trigger points and breathing through that to see if you can get some tension relief there. You can take some deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth, but the main point is that you're working all the way through the entire orientation of the muscle, and you're not just staying right at a sensitive point. You really want to work all the way around the length of the entire muscle there. Now, the second mistake people are making is they're simply just jumping on this foam roller, and some people even spend 4 or 5 minutes on this thing, and really it's not needed to be spending that much time. It's really used for maybe 1 to 2 minutes at a time, especially if you're working on specific muscle groups, but you don't need to be spending all of your time just laying on this tool. That's not really what it's intended for. So some people will just hang out here and they'll just stay in a static position. So that's kind of the mistake people make. They just stay here. They're not really adding any type of motion. I mean, you might commonly see just this up and down motion where they go up and down because they assume, because of the way the foam roller is built, that this is really the only direction you should be going. But I really love to add some torsion and some different angles to really hit different points. So for instance, if we're using the lat as a focal point to stretch and work on, one of my favorite things that I like to do with the lat is I actually incorporate some rotation with my body, okay? And this is gonna really locate some areas on the lat, on the inside of the lat, even on the outside. So instead of me just kind of going up and down and not really being very specific with the location or where I'm trying to release, now I can really search and find those tight areas that you might have more stiffness in, where you can release some more tension. So for instance, back here for me, I kind of brought the foam roller a little bit lower, and with this technique, now I can kind of add some torsion and some rotation rolling on and off that pressure, and it allows me to really isolate that muscle, and you'll feel there is a lot of tenderness in that area. Now, the last mistake that I see people make that can really make a big difference is not only that they're just in this static position, but there's no active motion of their limbs. We know that our body is made of a large connective tissue system, including fascia, ligaments, and muscles, And when I'm moving my limbs distally, when I move my foot or when I move my knee, or even when I'm moving my arms, I'm going to help improve the total body flexibility and really make some significant changes when it comes to flexibility. So for instance, when we're using the lats, again, some people will just focus on keeping their arm propped here and they don't really do much more. They just keep it pinned to the ground and they're not moving. If you really want to do this correctly, you can focus on really actively moving that shoulder overhead, moving that hand overhead, really trying to get some active range of motion. You might find some stiffness when you're raising that arm up, but you're really going to allow the muscle to stretch, and then you're applying that pressure using the foam roller to really see some great changes there. And yes, it might at first be a little bit difficult moving your limbs or moving your arms as you have the foam roller on a specific point, but you'll start to realize how much more effective this can be when it comes to using the foam roller tool here. Now, those are some of my favorite tips to ensure that you are using the foam roller the correct way. Now, if you want more information on how to build strength and longevity with your body, please consider subscribing to the channel, give this video a like and a thumbs up, and if there's any other topics that you'd like for me to cover, please list them in the comments box below. I'll see you in the next one.